What am I looking for in 2025? First one, risk board evolution. The evolution of the risk board that is the geopolitical games going on right now. Wars and rumors of wars, who's moving their pieces where, what government is going against which government, and all that type of stuff. So the evolution of the risk board as a global thing itself. So what that entails for me is what are the next developments in the Middle East? What are the next developments that have an effect specifically on Israel? Because as we know, Israel is God's timepiece. The day of the Lord, the Daniel's 70th week, the Jacob's trouble is all about Israel. And so something that I've noticed in 2024, I didn't mention it on the list, but it has to do with I'm seeing a shift, the turning of God's eye from the world to Israel right now. And as we know, that's what's going to take place. God's going to be fully looking at Israel into the day of the Lord and all that. So what specifically is going to happen, whether it's geopolitical, whether it's war, stuff like that, whether it's some type of trade situation? We see a lot with what's going on with ports and energy and gas and all these types of things. What is directly going to affect Israel that may have some part in exploding over there in that region? So that's one of the things. Always, again, I brought up in 2024 how the Abraham Accords and the normalization of Saudi Arabia. These are things that I'm looking for when it comes to this evolution of the risk board that's going on, specifically affecting Israel. With Trump coming in, again, the Abraham Accords are back onto the table. And then we look at the thing, Jared Kushner's not going to be he's not going to have a title in Trump's administration, but he said he's still going to play a part when it comes to the relations of the United States and getting things done with Israel and Saudi Arabia. And he says 3 to 6 months, I'll have normalized ties between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which is interesting. And so I'm keeping an eye on that. We also know the Albert Pike's Freemasons' 3 world wars. The first 2 world wars, exactly as they said they were going to happen, which set up for Israel. And the third one is supposed to start World War III in Israel. And so we got to pay attention to what's going on when it comes to that. So the risk board evolution, the next developments in the Middle East, specifically Israel, what is going to take place with that? Some other things when it comes to the risk board evolution, Russia and Turkey. They're expanding control of Libya. Okay. We always talk about Russia. We always talk about Iran. We always talk about China. We always talk about these countries like that. What about the smaller ones that are specifically mentioned within Scripture? We know Ezekiel 38, Russia, Iran, and Turkey. Well, what are the other 2 that often get forgotten about? Libya and Sudan. They're specifically mentioned in Scripture when it comes to Ezekiel 38. And something that I pay attention to, I don't necessarily report on it because a lot of it's just little minuscule things that I just don't report on it because it's like a minute, it takes me a minute to say, hey, this is what's going on. But there's significant developments with what's going on with Libya and Sudan. Now, Russia pulling out of Syria is a big thing for multiple reasons. One, Russia pulled out of Syria, which plays a part in Ezekiel 38, which means they're going to get hooked back to the region. They're going to get brought back, which is something that's in that prophecy. And so them leaving is now opening the door for them to get brought back. The second thing that's interesting is Russia left Syria and is going into Libya to join Turkey with what's going on there. So if we take a look, if you guys don't know, Turkey is basically a proxy of, Libya is basically a proxy of Turkey. Turkey has been working on Libya for a long time, and they've got their bought and paid for politicians in Libya, basically controlling things, getting deals done. Turkey owns Libya, which plays a part with Ezekiel 38. So I just thought I'd let you guys know with what's going on with that. So yeah, Turkey expands grip in Libya. This is actually just a couple weeks ago, couple months. It's fairly recent. I don't remember exactly when this is from. It's fairly recent, though. It says Turkey is steadily expanding its influence in Libya through a multifaceted approach that includes a significant military presence and ambitious economic projects. The Turkish armed forces have been actively stationed in Libya since 2019, following the Turkey-Libya Memorandum of Understanding. The military footprint aligns with Ankara's long-term strategic goals to increase its sway over North African nation. Turkey's involvement in Libya is driven by broader economic and political ambitions. Yeah, you think? Libya is Ankara's second largest trading partner in Africa, with annual trade volumes reaching 4.5 billion with a B. Turkish firms are actively pursuing major construction projects, including the new Tripoli airport. Moreover, a recent energy agreement aims to tap into Libya's substantial oil reserve, estimated at 48 billion barrels. So this is significant for multiple reasons, under the control of Turkey, as well as, that's what needs to be there. That's what needs to happen in order for Ezekiel 38 to move forward, because Libya is going to be a part of those who go with it. But not only is Turkey expanding their grasp of Libya, well, Russia pulls out of Syria and starts rolling into, you guessed it, Libya. It says Russia's deepening military and geopolitical footprint in Libya. They're moving in. They're bringing military in there. They're setting up bases, air bases, and ports as well. And so they're moving their heavy artillery into that region as well. So again, we got multifaceted stepping stones for prophetic events. The other one has to do with Sudan, which of course is one of the other smaller ones that tends to get overlooked. Which Sudan is basically one of those situations where I wouldn't say Russia has control of Sudan. They're manipulating Sudan, which is interesting to say the least. So we got Sudan war. Russia hedges bets by aiding both sides of the conflict. Where have we seen this before, guys? We see this happening all over the place, where we got countries that are fueling both sides of the situation. And so it should come as no surprise that Russia's doing it in Sudan. Pretty much all of the major players are doing this in some type of fashion. And it says Moscow is striking a series of deals with Sudanese armed forces, while the Wagner Group continues to support the Rapid Support Forces. Again, we just saw the same thing with the Syrian rebel groups. It's the same situation that's going on, but in Sudan. Russia's role in prolonging Sudan's crisis. It says Russia voted a United Nations resolution on Sudan calling for immediate ceasefire between Sudan's warring parties and the delivery of humanitarian aid to millions of Sudanese. Russia said that the only Security Council member that voted against the ceasefire revolution. China, Russia's allies, supported the resolution drafted by the United Kingdom and Sierra Leone. And so obviously, Russia's got some pull, some type of play when it comes to Sudan, which is that fifth little guy that's a part of the group, the coalition that goes against Israel in Ezekiel 38. So some things that I'm watching for specifically in 2025. Obviously, we're paying attention to the big ones, but Libya and Sudan, I want to see what's going on with them. Because if those guys start getting prepped for that coming prophecy, we know we're getting closer. And so that's definitely something that I'm paying attention to when it comes to this risk board evolution. A couple other ones that I got. South Korea is in political turmoil. I want to see what comes of that. As you guys know, or maybe not, if you didn't hear, there's a region where for like 3 hours, South Korea's president declared martial law, and then they revoked it, and now they just impeached the South Korean president and installed a new guy. So there's turmoil going on in South Korea regarding that, and of course we see the tension brewing between South Korea and North Korea and whatnot. So I want to see what happens with South Korea when it comes to their political turmoil, see what unfolds with that, and how that may affect something like North Korea. And then, of course, the other one is NATO is increasing their war prep. I did a video on this just like a week or two ago, showing that they are increasing the push for the war that's coming. Of course, they're pulling stuff straight out of the Cold War playbook. I go over that. But we have the new Secretary General of NATO, which is telling all the member states to push all their chips into military and defense. They're saying get ready for World War III, basically. We know it's coming. We don't know when. We don't know how. We don't know what all is going to unfold with it. We just know it's coming. Again, I revert back to taking a look at the Freemason World War. They said it's going to kick off in the Middle East with Israel and Islam. I think that's where it's going to kick off, but it's going to, of course, unfold into the entire world. But again, that's just me looking at these things and seeing how that's playing out. But NATO is pushing towards that. Plus, we have Trump that has backtracked on stopping the war before he even takes office. He says, maybe, which we know it's not going to happen. This is going to unfold. Trump is their wartime guy to go in and handle this, not to stop the war, but to just control things as they come out. So, interesting things that all of a sudden he backtracked on that after he won the election. So those are my things when it comes to the risk board evolution. That is what I'm watching for.